And welcome back to Steve Time. Welcome to another edition of Steve Time. My name is Steve. Good to have you guys back. Been a couple weeks since our last and first podcast that we did with my coworker Cole, who went with to the Nuggets game a couple weeks ago. That was awesome. So definitely go check out that episode. So this is our second ever episode of Steve Time. Again, if this is your first time, welcome on in. Welcome to 5280 Media. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have not already. And let's get into today's show for May 9th. I am recording this on a Thursday evening, so hope you guys are having a good Thursday evening. And if you're listening to this on the way to work or if you're watching this, again, thank you. And again, feel free to like and subscribe. And if you're watching this live, feel free to comment below and give me some of your questions while we record this podcast. So let's jump in. So kind of giving an update here at 5280 Media. Just a few days ago, we actually released our first Avalanche podcast. It is called Eyes on Avs podcast with Josh and Patrick. They absolutely nailed that out of the ballpark. Great job by those two guys. Really excited what those guys are going to do for us over here at 5280. And great episode, by the way. Go check it out. It was our first one. So definitely watch that as they reviewed the Colorado Avalanche season. Again, they did a heck of a job. So shout out to those two guys. Hopefully they're going to be watching this tonight or tomorrow. But yeah, shout out to those two guys. And by the way, I guess got to mention this. So far in just a few days, we've had over 120 plus views on our YouTube channel for that podcast alone. So thank you to you guys for tuning in and watching that. So it's been awesome. That's an update for the Avalanche on our side of things. And then for the Nuggets, our Nuggets podcast is coming soon. We think we have a couple guys going to be meeting them soon to discuss certain things and just kind of doing somewhat of a interview style type of meeting to get to know them a little bit and kind of give them the rundown and just plan ahead for those podcasts. So they will be coming soon. If I had to guess, the deadline of those podcasts coming out will be roughly June. So we're looking the next few weeks to potentially get out a Nuggets podcast. But we shall see, given what the Nuggets are doing right now in the playoffs, and hopefully they're still in it, go into the finals. But we shall see. So stay tuned for the Nuggets podcast. Other than that, yeah, man, 5280 Media, man, it's growing. It's awesome to see. Super exciting stuff, and come along the ride with us. We're excited to build this thing, man. It's going to be a great ride, and hopefully you guys will be a part of it. So that'll be it for the first topic of the episode. Heading into our second topic, let's talk about the Denver Nuggets. I mean, what a game one against the Thunder, the best team in the NBA, and I think they had the best record by any team in the regular season. The Nuggets played horribly in the first three quarters, and yeah, it was just horrible basketball. We couldn't shoot, we couldn't pass. Our turnovers were atrocious until the last quarter, until the fourth quarter. Our defense just came alive and just stifled the Thunder's offense. And then there was kind of hope again. I mean, I think at one point the Thunder were up by, was it 11 or 12? And by that point, you're like, okay, it's probably going to be a runaway game. And I mean, they were hitting all their threes, and I'm talking about the Thunder. They were hitting every single three, it felt like, and it was just like, man, this is bad. Like, the Thunder are good, but and here's the thing too, the Nuggets, they had just finished their series against the Clippers. So now you're going up against the best team in the NBA in hostile environment. So that's tough, but the Nuggets came back. Jokic was incredible as always. However, if you look at the Clippers series, Jokic wasn't that great as he usually is. Jokic, in the playoffs so far, he's had trouble sinking those free throws, and all that. And you can definitely tell that Jokic is just exhausted, man, because this guy has had to play a lot. Because if you've seen Nuggets basketball this year, man, the Nuggets need Jokic on the court, because when he's not on the court, the Nuggets are one of the worst teams in the league, and I'm being nice about that. And so, yeah, it just, we need Jokic on the court. And so Jokic was huge in the comeback there. Of course, the Thunder, they were missing their shots, especially those two free throws there at the end for Brown to give the pass to Russ, and then Russ to Aaron Gordon for the game winning three pointer. But man, that was incredible game. I for sure thought we were going to lose that game. I kept watching. I still had hope that, hey, maybe there's a chance that we could turn around and win this game, in which we did. I thought that was simply incredible. So that was awesome, man. It was great. And of course, game 2 yesterday wasn't as good, or 2 days ago, whenever it was. That was a pretty awful game for the Nuggets. Get blown out by, what was it, 30 or 40 points? That's simply atrocious. So now the series is back in Denver. Game 3 is tomorrow. Man, that would be so much fun to go to. But again, I got a life, you guys, so I can't go to that, even though I wish I could. But for those who are going to Game 3, have fun out there and cheer loudly, all right? Because the Nuggets, they're again, even though Game 2 was absolutely horrendous, the Nuggets, I think, have a chance to upset OKC. Um, I think, just based off of that Game 1. And now here's the thing, though. We saw this with the Avs a little bit too. There's going to be some games to where the Avalanche are just unstoppable, right? Like Game 1 in the series against the Dallas Stars. That was like, wow, we're totally going deep in the playoffs. Then the next game, they just are completely lost. That's basically been the Denver Nuggets, except the last couple games against the Clippers. But man, like, it's just, we need a solid game for the bench, and I think our bench has been better. But man, we could definitely use, at least get a couple of these wins at home for us to head back to OKC, get another one, and head to the next round, the conference finals. And I think that would be huge. And can the Nuggets do it? I believe they can. If the Nuggets, I truly believe the Nuggets are the team to, for the team to beat OKC. I don't think OKC is going to lose to the Lakers or Minnesota. Well, now think of it. I mean, Minnesota is really, really good, but I don't know, man. Part of me says Minnesota is slightly overrated, but you do have Anthony Edwards, who is simply incredible over there. And so, yeah, it just, I don't know, man. But I do believe that, I do think that the Nuggets can absolutely upset the Thunder. But it's probably going to take 6-7 games to do it. Just giving the task ahead, but who knows? But if the Nuggets can play like they did in Game 1, not the first 2 or 3 quarters, of course, but if they can play like they did in the fourth quarter, if Jamal Murray can play like he did in the Clippers series, if Aaron Gordon can continue being clutch like he's been in the playoffs so far, this Nuggets team could definitely go to the NBA Finals. And they still have, again, majority of the players from that championship team, except some guys on the bench, right? But it just, I feel like this is it, man. Like, I don't think the Nuggets can necessarily go on a run here and win win another championship. I'm not saying that, but I do see a possibility where we could go to the finals again. Because on the other side of the conference, there's some really good teams. The Cavs, the Pacers are underrated. They've been looking great in the playoffs. So, I mean, you never know, man. You never know. But I do believe in my Nuggets, and I do think that they can upset the Thunder. But like I said, it's probably going to take 6 or 7 games to do so. And then finally, talk about the inevitable Colorado Rockies. Today I went to my second game of the year. Well, really, it was actually my third game, really, in all in one. So, yesterday, game one of the series against the Tigers. The day before that, we were supposed to play a game, but it got delayed, or I should say postponed because of rain. So, game one was yesterday, and then game 2 and 3 were today. And the nice thing about doubleheaders is that if you go into one of the games, you can still keep your ticket, and it will still be usable for the other game for the doubleheader. So we were able to stay for. Of course, we got there a little bit late. I think we got there around the third, or roughly. I think the second or third inning, and then we stayed pretty much all the way through the entire afternoon up until like the sixth inning. I think it was the fifth or sixth inning of the second game. And while it was fun, I got burnt like crazy. Beautiful day at the ballpark, man. It was awesome. It wasn't a sellout. First game, it was actually a pretty decent turnout, I will say, but definitely not a sellout. Game two, it was just really, really quiet. I mean, we were, of course, there were some people in our section. We set up, really close down the right field line, really close to the field, like literally like 10 feet away from the field, from the dirt. But yeah, great seats, and a great weather. But man, the Rockies are bad. And as you can see on the screen here, the Rockies, they're a laughing stock. Let's be honest, folks. I mean, we're not, let's not beat around the bush. Let's not try to be too careful here. No, they suck. The Rockies suck. And as a fan of the Rockies, and of course every Denver sports fan, but as a Rockies fan, most importantly, it's just like it's so frustrating because ever since I went to that Nuggets game a couple weeks ago, it was almost like my eyes opened to the realization that, hey, the Nuggets, the Avalanche, the Broncos, their ownership actually cares about winning, and they'll do whatever it takes for their team to win, no matter how hard it's going to hurt. The Rockies are afraid to make decisions that they know that will hurt them, but at the same time, they know will benefit them. The Rockies don't want to do that. They want to take the safe road. They don't want to take the road that hurts them, but also makes them a better team. The Rockies refuse to do that. Like, why does Bud Black? And again, I mentioned this on our one of our Rockies recap episodes just the other day. But why does Bud Black still have a job when we're 6-31? Like, seriously, why? And of course, we all know the reason why. It's the man up top. He's running the show. But like, what are we doing here? And you look at the players, all right, and we talked again. We briefly talked about this on the episode, Rockies episode. The Rockies pride themselves in being a draft and develop team, right? Right? Okay. Well, develop them. Well, how can the Rockies develop players when they don't even let them play? When they don't let the young kids play? Now, Amador did play today. Good to see. But why did we make the trade for Alan Trejo, who is a aged veteran, who is on average, I think he's a 220, 230 hitter, rather than going to a guy that I think could be a pretty decent guy for us in the future in Ryan Ritter in AAA? Why did we send down Zach Veen, who was starting to look like he was turning the corner? And then just recently, there's been news coming out from Albuquerque that Zach Veen has been dealing with non-injury issues. And it sounds like what some people are saying, depression, anxiety. Yeah, no wonder, because the Rockies treat their prospects horribly. They don't develop them. And then people say, well, the Rockies players stink. Well, yeah, because they don't develop them correctly. Because some of it might have to do with Dick Monfort, some of it might have to do with the GM, but then you also have to look at the guy who's making the lineup card. Because if you go back before Bud Black became Rockies manager, who was the manager? Walt Weiss. And he was coming into the Rockies view when Arenado was a prospect and was just making his debut, right? Charlie Blackmon, he had already been around for a couple of years, but Guess what those guys did? Those managers did. They let the young kids play. They let Arenado play. They let Trevor Story play. Walt Weiss didn't have Trevor Story sit on the bench in 2016 on opening day in Arizona. They played Trevor Story right away, and guess what? He hits 2 home runs off of Zach Greinke, one of the best pitchers in the recent baseball era. They didn't bench Charlie Blackmon in whatever it was, 2010, 2011, when he made his debut. They let him play. Now, early in Charlie's career, he wasn't that great, but guess what? They still played him. And a couple years later, he has that remarkable opening day where he had, 6 hits? 5 or 6 hits? Like, it went 5 for 5 or 6 for 6 against Arizona in Colorado on opening day. And then you look at where the Rockies are now. I do still believe in Brenton Doyle. I really like his glove, of course, and I think the bat's still going to be there. Of course, he's in a rut right now. He's been going through a lot with his family, and shout out to him, and my prayers and thoughts go to his family. And I do like seeing Jordan Beck play pretty much every single day, which has been good to see, and he's hitting the 2-hole. But why are we playing Nick Martini, Alan Trejo, and Kyle Farmer? We're not here to see those guys play. We're here to see the Amadors, no matter how hard they stink right now. Well, the reason why, again, they're young, but the reason why some of them are not doing well is because they keep changing the lineup and they keep sitting these players. Like a couple of weeks ago, Amador had a 3-for-4 game, his best game of his career so far. Guess what Bud Black did the next day? Benched him. He didn't play. That's not how you develop players, buddy. That's how you lose confidence. That's how a player loses confidence. And in some ways, that's the manager saying, well, I don't trust you. It really what it is. I'm just going to go there, folks. So Bud Black does not trust the Rockies players. And we wonder how some of these Rockies players go to different teams and all of a sudden they succeed. And we talk again on the Rockies recap episode with Tom. If you go listen to our Rockies Now YouTube stuff, we talked about the other day. Jeff Hoffman. You remember him when we traded for him in the Torrey Whiskey deal? Jeff Hoffman was one of the pitchers that we got, and he didn't have a great Rockies career. But guess what? He gets traded, or I don't know if he got traded or if he got released. It's been a long time, but guess what? He finds success with other ball clubs. He is elite with the Phillies. And not to mention, was it last year? He actually spoke against the Rockies analytics department saying that basically it's in the Stone Age. Like, they're not good in terms of analytics. They don't develop their pitchers right. They don't develop their players right anymore. Because now it's just like, oh, okay, here's a bat, here's a glove, now go play. It's just like, whoa. That's not how you do it, man. It's just, it's incredible, really, folks. It really is. It's frustrating. I feel for some of the players. I really do. Because looking at Kyle Freeland's face in his press conference, of course, I wasn't actually in the room, but there's a video out on social media. You can check it out on our Rockies Now Instagram page. Kyle Freeland looks super defeated, man. Like, you can tell that he's done. He's done with the management. He's done with Bud Black. And what he said was, yeah, tell the fans that, keep hanging in there, keep riding with the team. But you can tell secretly he's like, I'm so done. And I would not be surprised. And I was talking to some of our guys in the Rockies Now group chat tonight. I would not be shocked if he requests a trade. I really wouldn't. I mean, there might be other players that might do that. Because it's just, where's the winning? Where's the trying and trying to become a better team? There is none. Because if the Rockies truly cared about winning, they would have fired Bud Black already. They would have fired Bill Schmidt already. They would have let a bunch of people go. But no, we believe in the guys that we have. Okay, Dick. All right. You play your game. You play your game, man. So it's frustrating, man, because again, I love the Rockies. I want to love the Rockies, but I'll be honest with you, I did not have fun today. Other than, seeing the ballpark and having great food and hanging out with some of my family members, I honestly did not have a great time today. It was just like, There was a couple times I literally yawned during the game. That's how boring it was because I already knew the Rockies were going to lose. And again, we lost. Was it game 2, 11-1? And in the first game, we only got like 3 or 4 hits and 1 run, I think, 1 or 2 runs. It's ridiculous, man. It really is. And so the question is, can the Rockies make any changes? No, definitely. Will they make any changes? Probably no. Probably not. The Rockies are complacent, and I think it's pretty clear, even though they'll probably say that they care about winning, they really don't. All they care about is the sales and the beer, and more than half the stadium being Tigers fans. Because when I went to the games today, I would argue and say 60 to 70, maybe even more % of the fans that showed up were Tigers fans. That's embarrassing, folks. It really is. It's just there's no effort. There's no effort to try to turn this thing around, and it's unfortunate, man. It sucks. So yeah, Josh, in the comments says here, we have a lot of issues. So I want to pose this question. If you were the owner, what would be the first change you would make? Well, first thing I'd fire my GM and manager, of course, and fire pretty much everybody in the coaching staff. It's just, it's not working because it's just like, you need to make changes here. And what's so silly and funny at the same time, again, it's just, you look at the Nuggets, all right? They fired Michael Malone, and they're a playoff team. Michael Malone lost the clubhouse or whatever you want to call it for the Nuggets, right? The Pirates today, they just announced earlier today that they fired Derek Shelton. And the Pirates have more wins than we do. Now, granted, they're not much better, but they are better than the Rockies in terms of record, and they have better players than the Rockies do, or more talent, I should say, and a deeper farm system. And yet they fire their manager, and their front office is not great either. But yet they fired their manager, which good, but they need to make more changes. And yet the Rockies are like, "No, we're good. We're good." That is the frustrating thing, man. Again, to answer your question, Josh, the first thing I would do would be to fire the GM, fire basically almost everybody in the front office, except some of the people that have actually done success in the analytics department. Hire more people into analytics because, again, the Rockies, quote from other sources and from different baseball podcasts around the country, they have said that the Rockies analytics department is pretty much still in the Stone Age, and they need more people. Like, the Rockies only have a handful of people in analytics, where you look at other teams around baseball, they have dozens upon dozens, if not hundreds of people in their department, but the Rockies only have a handful. So really, it's not important for the Rockies to have analytics. It really doesn't, which is a shame, right? So that's what I would do. I would make some trades as well, but at the same time, though, I would still roll with some of the guys that you have. Because again, you kind of look at Moneyball, right? When Billy Beane wanted the manager to have Hatteberg play and bench Pena, and they were like, "Well, Pena's our best player." But in terms of WAR and success and average and all the analytics, it said Hatteberg should be playing every day. And look what happened. The A's won that many games without the best players that they had the year before. And here the consensus was, hey, we need to be playing Pena. He's going to be an all-star. But no, they said analytically they felt like Hatteberg was the guy to go to. And so it's just, yeah. And here's the thing. I think Bud Black is trying to win games to save his job, but it's making things worse. It really is, because I think he's looking at the lineup card and saying, well, Farmer and Martini, they're more experienced, and we do need some veterans in the lineup. And see, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but the bad thing is that they're taking playing time from the younger players. You get it, right? So, but yeah, it's just like, Bud, we're not trying to get, yes, we want to win baseball games, but at the same time, though, we're trying to develop the players so that we can win. We can't win first and develop. We have to develop and then win. That's how the Dodgers became the juggernaut. They didn't win first. There was a time where the Dodgers absolutely sucked. Remember that? That was like before the 2010 age. They were horrible. But they weren't that great. They were like a wild card team. They were like a third place finish in the National League West when the Rockies were in like first place, along with like the Giants and the Diamondbacks. But it's just there's a whole lot of problems, man, and I think we all know what they are, and we all hope that there's changes because. And here's the thing too. Some people are saying, well, maybe we shouldn't have the Rockies here. Maybe we should just have the team move out of Denver. No, 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 no. Denver's not the problem. It's the ownership. It's the ownership, not the team. Well, in terms of team, it's not the fans. It's not the city. It's the ownership. It's the front office. It's the management. That's the problem. Because if we get rid of that, we can bring in new people with new ideas and make this team a great team. Because you look at the Athletics, man, they're still, you look at, they have decent players, but you can only imagine how long they're going to have that because their owner is probably going to ship them off pretty soon in the next few years. Um, it just, it stinks, man. And, you want to have a consistent winning ball club. I don't think the A's are going to be consistent. They might have 1 or 2 good years like this year and maybe in the future to where they might have a few good players. But look what they did with Matt Olson, Matt Chapman, Josh Donaldson, Jonas Cespedes years ago. They had some really good arms. Guess what they did? They traded them all away. And that's what they're probably going to do under the current ownership of John Fisher. And it stinks. It sucks for baseball. It sucks for Rockies fans. It sucks for A's fans. Because we don't deserve this. We deserve a team or an ownership that is trying to win championship rings. That's the whole point. And the Rockies are not trying to do that because they don't care about that right now. So it really does stink. So I'm hoping that there's changes coming, but it just over the last few weeks, the frustration level of myself and other Rockies fans have now reached a new height to where we're done. And I think it's getting to a point where a dangerous point to where people are going to be boycotting even more. Because I remember when Arenado got traded, people were going to boycott the Rockies, and that was a little bit of a mini stage. And then people came back, and then we were like, "Hey, there's some hope with some young prospects," and I was excited too. I like last year, the year before that, I was like, "Man, Amador, he's killing it in AA," and Zach Veen. If he can stay healthy, he's going to be an awesome player for us. But now it's just like, I don't know if I can be confident in that anymore because we don't play them. We're having them sit on the bench or in AAA, and we're wasting their development. We're wasting their careers. That's what the Rockies do, and it's unfortunate. So that's my mini rant for the show today. Again, I'm going to be releasing this on Friday morning. I am recording this as of Thursday, May 8th. I really appreciate you guys for tuning in and listening to my little Rockies rant here at the end of the episode. But again, thank you so much. Feel free to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are going to try to bang out a couple more of these podcasts per week. Steve Time, again, like I said, I'm going to try to maybe do 2 episodes a week, but generally you're probably going to see at least 1. And then for the Avs podcast with Josh and Patrick, I think they might have mentioned this on their episode the other night, their debut episode, but I think they're going to try to do at least 1 podcast a month, especially during the off season since there's not a lot to do. But should there be breaking news or emergency podcasts, that sort of thing, they'll be doing that here on the channel. So stay tuned for that. You do not want to miss it, especially if you're an Avs fan. And then, as I mentioned very quickly, if you're a Nuggets fan, also stay tuned because very quickly, very soon, we're going to be having a Nuggets podcast starting up soon. Have a couple guys that we think that we're set up with. Um, I'm looking forward to it. Really excited over here. So stay tuned for that. And if you don't follow us on social media, follow us at 5280 Media on Instagram and X and Threads. We're growing over there. Pretty awesome stuff. Go follow our side pages, Rockies Now and Broncos Source, for your Rockies and Broncos content. That will do it for this episode of Steep Time. Thank you for listening. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll talk to you all later.